Hey, this is Neil of WalkInTheWoods.llc, and this is a video on our improvements to using the Transcoder API at Google. We use the Transcoder API to handle a variety of video formats and different stream configurations in those video formats, which is quite challenging. And unfortunately, the Transcoder API doesn't have a lot of capability to fix things or switch things, kind of like you would expect from FFmpeg. It's really just this raw tool, and you have to pass in this big ugly configuration to get it to work. Previously, up until today, we have this hard-coded configuration that I actually pass in to the Transcoder API, but the difficulty is if the video format doesn't match this, as in maybe the audio stream is first instead of the video stream, or there's no video stream, or there's no audio stream, or there's two video streams, this just wasn't working. And so what I ended up doing, if you saw my previous video, I'm using JQ to build up that configuration in JSON just programmatically. So taking information from FFProbe, which is also JSON, and then fitting that together in a way that I can call the Transcoder API. And I did a little bit of extra sugar here too. We also try running it through this copy strict experimental thing with FFmpeg, because if you have a stream that's incomplete, so the metadata doesn't include the duration as an example, then the Transcoder API will puke on it. So if you take a stream, an incomplete stream, which is how webcam recordings work, you just can't pass it to the Transcoder API. And that was actually the bug that started this whole problem, and I decided to fit the other things in as well. So we can see this work if we just run transcoder JSON on a file. So I think I have one here, and so that will detect how many streams, put them into the right muxing order, and then we can take a look at JSON, that one. And this is what comes out of it. In this case, it's pretty much the same. And I try to use blocks in here, nice little string blocks, to show all the crazy JSON you need with the transcoder, because I don't entirely understand all this stuff, but I'm sure in a year or so I will know what every single property means and why it's kabak. The last thing that this does, the nifty thing, is it ensures that it's an SD, and here we have it hard-coded to 1280 by 720, but within the script it will actually adjust that down and so preserve the aspect ratio. This is something you can kind of do with the Transcoder API, but you have to say either width or height, and then it adjusts the other one. You can't really say both and have it adjust both. And so this keeps either dimension within those maximum limits. So let's go ahead and try this out. I also, because I wanted to see if it was possible, made it so that it would support audio files. So now you can upload a survey that's an audio file, and it will create a video out of that then you can respond to. So we're going to wait for this to complete. In order for you to be able to view a survey, the web-friendly job needs to complete. It takes usually less than 60 seconds, even when it's a rather long video. And in the actual application, this is not something that you'll see all this stuff for. This is just my background debugging. This is using Cloud Run jobs, and when it's complete, it will generate the asset. So also now the transcoder, I'm waiting for it to complete, whereas previously I was just fire and forget. Now we wait for it to complete, and this does use a few extra cycles on Cloud Run, but since Transcoder is rather fast, I think it's better to have all that data in the same logs for one job, rather than trying to keep track of a Transcoder job and a Cloud Run job. I just fit it all into one, and so once it's all finished, you can watch it here, and if you need to, if you're debugging, you can go and pull this out and look at the details there. But we can see that it generated a file, and if we go to the Jobs tab now, it has, if it generates a file in a job, then it gives you a link to it. Thumb.gif obviously didn't succeed because there's no video here, but if we look at movie MP4, it actually has this, which is kind of cool. And so now I can take this survey, and this is still a little rough. I wonder if this will work with, yeah, it's not going to play the audio, so hopefully it's still recording my video. But normally if you're taking this, and I wasn't doing a screencast, when you hit the start button, it will play that audio, which would be a survey, asking you questions or telling you what the thing is to give impressions on, and then it captures your reaction to that and the recording, and then uploads that. And so if we go back to our survey now, we have a response from me, and this, just like everything else, needs to follow the jobs format, where it runs a process to create a video that works correctly on all web browsers, or almost all web browsers. We'll work on OGV later. So if let's just refresh this page and see if we can, yep, and there we go. So then that's my response. A couple of things to note: this is really rough. This is just development stuff, not the actual UI. Barto's working on the actual UI. This is just some nice Pico test stuff that I put together. And your email address is not going to be shown in the final product, nor will somebody be able to see that. If you're keeping yourself private, then that will be masked through a hash. So kind of cool. This is where we're at so far, and I'll catch you on the flip side.